Greetings, fellow individuals. Allow me to share a personal experience with you. When the physical and emotional connection between my wife and I dissipated, I turned to the Dead Bedroom subreddit for insight. The community provided me with exceptional support, which motivated me to take action by placing a voice recorder in her car. This decision ultimately revealed that the root of our issues was not due to the reasons that she had been sharing with others, such as my supposed inadequacy and lack of contribution to household responsibilities. Rather, it was the archaic act of infidelity. This betrayal commenced in September of the previous year. Presently, my spouse is unwilling to be in my presence within the confines of our rented living space. Her schedule is always full, and she consistently makes time for her loved ones, whether it be her parents or friends. A recorded conversation has revealed more than just her busy lifestyle. In the recording, she confesses her love for another man and expresses her desire to visit him for a physical relationship. She even goes so far as to declare her intention to leave her current partner, me, and become his wife. The reality is she is unaware that I am aware of her infidelity. While her family and friends remain in the dark about our relationship struggles, she continues to lead a double life. Despite being one of 3 Catholic sisters who attend church every Sunday, her faith has not prevented her from straying from the path of monogamy. Our small town, with a population of approximately 20,000, is the backdrop for this tumultuous situation. My intuition tells me that my wife will file for divorce in the near future. Her demeanor and body language indicate that she is struggling to cope with our living situation in the apartment, and it appears that she has reached her breaking point. The lack of communication between us only reinforces this belief. I sense that she wants me out of the picture as soon as possible, so that she can have some time alone before her affair partner moves to our small town to live with her in our family home, along with our 2 young sons. The recording I heard confirms this suspicion, as she mentioned giving her lover 2 years to return to our country. She believes that others will understand her need for a father figure for our kids, but I cannot help but feel betrayed and hurt by her actions. She seems content with the situation and shows no signs of complaining. Interestingly, her affair partner is actually her first boyfriend, with whom she was involved for 7 years prior to our 9-year-long marriage. Although he now resides abroad, he frequently visits our country. In an update, I consulted with an attorney and learned some crucial information. It appears that pursuing a course of action that would harm her would not be wise, as we have children together and must co-parent for the next 15 to 16 years. This realization has shifted my perspective on the situation. One more reason why I am hesitant to initiate a divorce is my deep respect for her family, and I would prefer not to involve them as witnesses to our separation. Following our conversation, I instructed my attorney to send her the necessary paperwork, which was scheduled to arrive in Poland right after the Easter holiday, which lasted 2 days. While she was at work in the capital city 1 hour away, I took a day off from my job to care for our 1-year-old son. During this time, my brother assisted me in moving all of my belongings out of the apartment. We loaded my belongings into my brother's car and continued with our day. Later on, the postman delivered the divorce papers, which we intended to use to divide our assets amicably and part ways peacefully. The document explicitly states that she is in a committed relationship with a specific individual, including his first and last name, and that this is the primary reason for our separation. The evidence I have gathered will be instrumental in negotiating child support and other related issues. When she arrived at the house, I confronted her with the undeniable proof of her infidelity. I was hurt beyond measure and insisted that she contact my lawyer immediately. I handed her the divorce papers and left to visit her parents. Naturally, she began to deny everything and questioned me about what I knew. Her parents were taken aback by the news, but ultimately believed my account of events. As per my attorney's instructions, I recorded the entire exchange for future reference. I began by questioning her family members about their perception of me as a husband and father. Once they confirmed their approval, I knew that they could not be used as witnesses against me in court. As I had suspected, they believed my account of events and were sympathetic to my plight. It is truly devastating what she has done and the impact it has had on everyone's lives. I expressed my gratitude to them for their understanding and left for the capital city. While en route, I contacted a friend and asked him to disseminate the news to her friends. A couple of hours later, my brother-in-law called me and informed me that my wife had admitted to having an affair with her lover, but had not confessed to engaging in sexual activity with him. He went on to say that everyone was on my side and that my wife's actions had irreparably damaged our family. He also mentioned that her sister had visited her and admonished her for her evil behavior. He ended the conversation on a hopeful note, stating that all was not lost, as he himself had cheated on his wife, and yet they were able to reconcile and find happiness together. Afterwards, her father reached out and acknowledged that his daughter was entirely to blame and unaware of the gravity of her actions. He assured me that the individual with whom she had an affair would never set foot in his home, and that he would cease all financial assistance to me soon-to-be ex-wife. He attempted to contact the affair partner but received no response. Despite everything, he expressed his belief that the marriage could be salvaged. Additionally, her sister messaged me to express her full support, but also shared her belief that the marriage could still be repaired. I strongly disagree with the notion that the marriage can be salvaged. I am confident in my decision to end it. However, I am concerned that they may use the fact that I do not possess a sex tape as a reason to justify staying together. I have recordings of my soon-to-be ex-wife engaging in sexually explicit conversations with her affair partner. On another note, many of you had predicted that once the divorce papers were served, she would attempt to reconcile in order to save face in front of our family, and because she requires assistance with our 2 young sons. As predicted, it finally happened. My soon-to-be ex-wife started messaging me on the messenger. Each message was essentially a variation of, "I cannot imagine my life without you. I love you and only you. And we are waiting for you and love you very, very much." However, it has been 5 weeks since we separated, and she has not once called me or visited me, despite having multiple opportunities to do so, including driving past my current residence at my parents' home. So far, her attempts at communication have been limited to messages on the messenger. Lately, my soon-to-be ex-wife's family has been reaching out to me more frequently. Her father has called me twice, while her mother has sent me a dozen texts containing links to Christian web pages that discuss the importance of forgiveness. Additionally, one of her sisters messaged me to apologize and claimed that my wife's actions were the result of her being possessed by an evil spirit. On the other hand, my soon-to-be ex-wife's other sister acknowledged the damage my wife caused to our family and expressed that she does not expect me to reconcile with her. Additionally, my brother-in-law came over and took me out for a beer. He did not try to persuade me in any way, but rather engaged in light conversation regarding the situation and what the future may hold if I choose not to reconcile. Essentially, all of these talks revolved around disbelief that my wife could do what she did. While they would like me to reconcile with her, they understand if I am unable to do so. Eventually, the day came when I made a firm decision. I informed my lawyer, who then relayed to her lawyer that I am unable to forgive my wife's infidelity and that I want a divorce. My lawyer presented my terms for the divorce, and we are currently waiting for her lawyer's response. However, during this waiting period, my wife's sister began to blame me for the situation. She explicitly stated that I am the one who is destroying the marriage, despite the fact that it was my wife's selfish actions that caused all of this. Presently, my wife is expressing deep remorse for her actions. She is crying and wishing she could reverse time. She now believes that it is me who is being selfish, and will be the one responsible for ending the marriage by pursuing a divorce. My wife believes that I could prevent the divorce by returning to my children. She stated that it would not be for her sake, but for the sake of our kids. She also claimed that my anger towards her will only grow stronger with time, and suggested that I should simply endure it and continue living with her. It appears that my wife's family is now portraying me as the villain who is abandoning our children. However, I am considering presenting my terms for reconciling, which she is unlikely to agree to. Although I may not love her anymore, I would be willing to reconcile for the sake of our children whom I love deeply. However, I would only agree to a partnership with separate finances, no marriage involved. Additionally, my wife would need to move from her hometown to the capital city where I live. Moreover, there would be a daily phone check and a GPS tracker in her car until she is no longer capable of driving. I have considered a potential solution to silence my wife's family's accusations of me abandoning our children. My idea is to have 7 months of dating random women with the possibility of cheating on my wife during the relationship without ever confessing. If she were to find out, it would not matter since there would be no marriage to salvage. However, I must emphasize that this is merely an idea and not a serious consideration. In all likelihood, I will not follow through with this plan. Unfortunately, in Poland, small children such as ours are required to be near their mother in the event of a divorce, and I am unable to have them. Due to the fact that she resides in a small town that is an hour away from me and we cannot split custody equally, I will only be able to see my children every other weekend. However, I will have full access to them whenever I desire. It is a sorrowful and distressing situation, but it is the reality. I have one last update to share. After much negotiation, our lawyers have reached an agreement, and the divorce will be finalized soon. My soon-to-be ex-wife will be taking possession of the unfinished house, and the mortgage will be solely in her name. The house is for the benefit of our children, and I do not want anyone to accuse me of selling it out of spite for her infidelity. However, I am entitled to recoup what I invested in the house, and the amount is quite fair. Additionally, the amount of child support I will be paying is also reasonable. We've also come to an agreement that my ex-wife will drop off the kids at my place in the capital city every other weekend, and I'll be responsible for driving them back. Even though I get to see my kids almost every weekend, it's still not enough for me. The thought of not being there for my 1- and 3-year-old boys because of my ex-wife's behavior is unbearable. It pains me greatly. Unfortunately, due to the laws in Poland, I'm unable to have them with me as much as I would like. To cope with the situation, I may have to start driving there in the middle of the week. Meanwhile, my ex-wife sends me messages expressing her love for me and how she wishes she could undo her actions. She claims to suffer every day due to what she did. She has softened her stance to the point where she no longer perceives my checking her phone as mistreatment. She even suggested that we move out of the small town to the capital city. She has agreed to reveal every detail of the affair if I take her back. She went as far as to apologize to my parents for her actions. It appears that something has shifted. Perhaps someone spoke to her, but my ex-wife is now willing to do whatever it takes and seems genuinely remorseful. In her last message to me, she expressed gratitude for my decision not to sell the house and for ending things amicably. However, she reminded me that agreeing to the terms of the divorce does not reflect her true feelings. Despite having to agree in court, she wants me to know that she does not want the divorce and still loves me dearly. She understands that I may not believe her, and that's okay. I have a deep desire to demonstrate my love for you in the future. I apologize for any wrongs I've committed and express my affection for you. The pain caused by such incidents hinders my healing process. I cannot deny that her words have an impact on me. The idea of my children growing up in a big city versus a small town is alluring. I empathize with her struggles as a single mother of 2 young boys. But her infidelity destroyed everything we had, taking longer than I anticipated. The healing process is a gradual one, and I've come to realize that. Although it's been challenging, your support has been instrumental in getting me through this. I'm confident that I'm making the right decision, even though it's taking longer than expected. The wound is mending at its own pace, and I'm learning to be patient.